as you're seeing some progress, but with the work that you're doing, you know, what's missing? You know, where is it funding that's missing? Is it people working in these spaces with you that's missing? Is it the schools, the faith? We talked about business and the faith community, but what's missing? Eric?
I just think just the resources, and I know that be broadly said sometimes, but like we said, with these households, it's hard to really take the guns off these people's hands and stuff like that if we ain't put nothing positive in their hands. So I just think as long as people struggle, as long as we got poverty, that, you know, you're gonna have people that's trying to survive. I think anybody that when you take away their money, it's gonna do what they gotta do to survive, to feed their kids, or whether it's rob somebody, go in the store to steal a loaf of bread. And if we, even sometimes, that's why we try to not just look at the individual, we try to look at their whole household, because like if we found a kid that had COVID, but the whole house got COVID, we treated this kid and sent him back home, and everybody in the house has COVID, he's gonna have COVID again. So I think we really gotta do a better job, but we need the help, we need the resources to get the mother a job, get the father who just came home from jail, want to be a part of, get him a job and let him stabilize his family. So I think that's the missing piece to businesses and government. Take a chance on return citizens, change some of the hiring policies, do some record selling. Those type of things would help get people stabilized in their families.
So someone who we both, I'm sure, have a fond affection for, Dr. Lerone Bennett used to say, he said one time, you know, whatever you're doing, you're not doing enough. Whatever you're working on, you're not working enough. Whatever you're reading, writing, you're just not doing enough. I just feel like in this moment as a community, we have some challenges that are probably unlike anything I've seen in my 50 years. The question is, how do we respond to those challenges? I feel like I got to do more, especially in this moment. And I think we all got to sign up to do more, because again, it's not going to get better in the near term. The question is, how are we going to respond as a community? And so we got to hire more folks, we got to talk more, communicate more, collaborate more. This is one of those moments in time where it's all hands on deck if we're going to change the course for some of the folks who desperately need it. So I think we all got to do more in this moment.
You know, Thomas, that's one of the things that we hear a lot, right? Some awful thing happens in the city, even when people come out for, you know, for marches or walks, peace walks, and the chorus is, we got to do something. They got to do something. It's always the they or the we got to do something.
I would say it's me.
Okay.
Right? I would say.
But what are some of those somethings, you know, that you you've been proud to see, besides, you know, the work that you're doing, but, you know, just.
So I would say for me, you know, we got 6 academies in the city, about 500 kids, you know, learn about the hotel business. But I gotta talk to Weaver more. I gotta talk to folks in the space that he's in more, so we can help more men and women, particularly those returning citizens, get connected to work, especially right now. Like, this is a critical moment where days matter, weeks matter, and we got to figure out how do we build a group of employers that are more committed to ever than helping them get connected to jobs.
I think was to your point, and right now with everything else going on with the federal shutdown, all the people get losing their jobs, it pushes the return citizen population even further back in the line, because now they got to compete with these people who just got laid off for these federal jobs that have this extensive resume and all these skills. So our line just got longer. So we really need more help from the business community to understand it and be willing to give those guys a chance.
How much does that bother you, though? I mean, I think we're all kind of like, you know, looking at folks that we know who are on the edge, right? And because of these shutdowns, and so now you're saying the returning citizen community is going to get pushed back.
Yeah, and it bothers me because I know a lot of them, so, and a lot of them come to me, you know, thinking we're hoping I'm Oprah Winfrey, where I could just say, you get a car, and I can't. And so it bothers me because they literally come to me with tears in their eyes and like, I'm trying. And pretty much I know what that I'm trying and them tears mean. If something don't happen soon, I'm forced to go back and do something else. And so that is like, it bothers me, like where I'm like wrecking my brain and like, dang, I gotta find something for this guy.
So where do you find, I mean, what is your go-to to find
One,
those
we hire a lot of
opportunities?
people. I think, you know, NAARC, we may have 100 employees, and 85% of them, 90% is returned citizens. So that's one thing. I do have relationships. I've been able to call Tom. I've had relationships with Project Empowerment, because sometimes I was like, I just need to get them with something right now until we can find something else. But something else I push, because like Thomas said, it's a lot of talented people that's coming home. So like anything done in my house is done by returned citizens. If you painting, if you an electrician, you're a plumber, and I try to build like a network with all my buddies. Like, man, y'all need your grass cut, hire returned citizens. You need electric, because we got some good talented people to do it. So just, you know, them the little things I try to do just to play my part in it.
So would they find, if somebody was listening and they say, yeah, I do need it's gonna snow. Who do I call? Senior citizens, who do I call to get my snow removed? How would they call?
I mean, they would call me, of course, I got people, but I have always.
We need an Angie's list of returned
know.
citizens.
And that's what I've been saying that for some years, and just maybe like Thomas said, I need to do more. Maybe I need to just stop saying it and stop having it in my head and really create this list of, okay, here are our returned citizen plumbers, here are returned citizen electricians and stuff, because a lot of them, they, you know, they certified, they done went through the channels to get some of those things, but it's still, you know, hard for them to get jobs other than, you know, these jobs. So I think that's a good thing to maybe push.
Reverend Gholston, the same thing with you. I mean, you know, when you do these walks, you meet these people. Of course, you don't know how extensive the faith community has really stepped up, because you figure you've got a lot of business owners that are sitting in these pews who, that's where collaboration steps in. Have you done anything creative like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been really grateful to the Ward 7 faith leaders, Ward 8 faith leaders. There's a Ward 4 group of clergy. And, you know, when I put out a call, somebody needs furniture, like we were in a home in Congress Park a couple of years ago, and the floors were so sticky in the floor that my feet were sticking to the floor. And I have to say, I mean, I've traveled around the world, and I was shocked, and it made me understand. You know, the kids that we were visiting, they were 14 and 15, and you know, they were shooters. And then I began to understand, like there's some serious issues at work in this particular home. And I was able to place a phone call to a network of pastors, and they were able to, you know, they had a clothing closet, and one church had an entire warehouse of furniture, and you know, it was a struggle at first. I will be honest. I had to make several calls, and I would prefer that we had an immediate network that would make that possible. But I think part of that is it's just building the infrastructure so that can happen. And so I'm constantly trying to find out, okay, what are the resources that you have in your church, you know? And so that's why, you know, if I can't find it in your, you know, within the Christian church, I've developed relationships with imams, and I've discovered that our Muslim brothers and sisters are extremely resourceful. Masjid al-Islam, those brothers have been extremely resourceful. Masjid Muhammad, that imam has been extremely resourceful. And so it is a matter of just thinking outside the box, you know, and just trying to come up with innovative solutions. I think the other thing I would say, just generally in terms of what's like really needed, is regardless of how much money you have, like we all need to be able to show up healthy. You know, I've seen, you know, VIs crash out. I've seen pastors crash out, marriages fall apart. because priorities are out of line and because we're not in a whole healthy place ourselves. You know, doctors, people with degrees. I went to Banneker High School. That means everybody I know is from a neighborhood in DC, but everybody I know also has degrees on their walls. I'm looking at my peers right now, dealing with serious depression, suicidal ideation, people that got everything. And I'm looking at people like my nephew, people that, like my brother was incarcerated, some of his peers, like really, really struggle. And the common thing that's really, that we all share is a lack of wholeness and healing inside. I
get it.
And so that's major.
Yeah.
And so that's why we started the Heal the Healer initiative, because I realized I need to take care of my mental health. I need to take care of my physical health. I need to make sure that I have integrity means you're whole. Before you do anything else out here, integrity means you're whole from within yourself.
So I'm going to cut you off because we're just about out of time.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. And I wanted to
You asked the preacher,
Kristy,
so the preacher's got to start preaching.
Kristy back in here again because, we talked about the data that you have seen, and what does that data really tell you all about what's working? And are there new things that you're looking at now that, if a report comes out next year, what are some of the new things that you all are following or looking at?
So part of our role, we do the number crunching, but we also do literature reviews. We stay on top of the research in terms of what is working to reduce, in particular, violent crime. There are a number of things. The principles are you focus on the high-risk people, you focus on the high-risk places. So for high-risk people, the things that really have had impact are what's called a group violence reduction strategy, and I'll come back to that one. Other things on the list are cognitive behavioral therapy, because what you're saying, a lot of this is mental health issues, street outreach, so and violence interruption would fall into that category, and especially when you combine street outreach with other strategies, it's even more effective. In terms of, and also for our young people, and I love the example about if the kid has COVID, you can't just treat the kid, you have to treat the whole family. For youth who are involved in the system, it's family programming. You cannot just help the youth. The effective strategies for youth is you help whoever is in that household, because the youth is being influenced by likely the household or their direct community. For the hot places, the focus is on hotspots policing. And that sounds a little alarming to some people, but it's with community buy-in. So it's not just police going in there, sort of bogarting, doing their thing. They're having community meetings and consulting and doing things appropriately and certainly fair. And also blight nuisance abatement. Let's clean up the community, bring the community together, allow them to have a sense of ownership and pride in where they live. So those some of the hot things. But going back to group violence reduction strategy, 4 key components, and we've seen 50% reductions in shootings with correct implementation. So you identify the high-risk people, who's likely to be involved in gun violence, either as a perpetrator or a victim. You respectfully communicate to them, and it's not just law enforcement communicating, it's faith leaders, it's violence interrupters, law enforcement coming together to communicate, we're concerned about you, we're here to help you, and then you actually prioritize them for that help. You're not just submitting a referral, you're getting them an appointment to whatever they need, and you're helping to stabilize them. But at the end of the day, you have sort of the carrot and the stick. If they don't comply, if they continue to engage, there is a role for law enforcement to incapacitate. So those are the key strategies.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we are pretty much out of time, but I have one question that I did want to make sure I got in before we finished. And you're studying, doing the research, just looking at those numbers sometimes can sometimes be overwhelming. And in the work that you all are doing, I know it's a real challenge. But in a few words, and I'm going to start with you, Eric, and give the man of faith the last. But what gives you hope?
Conversations like this, I think talking to people from different walks of this work, but still have the same goal to, people that care about the community, born and raised Washingtonians, I think, and just also pastor like this God. And so I just believe that, one, I believe that I was put here to do what I'm doing, and I could easily been gone a whole lot of different times for a whole lot of things in my life that I was involved with on the street and in jail, but I came out here and I just believe this is my mission to help turn around my city, particularly people coming home from jail as well as our youth.
Wonderful. Thomas?
What gives me hope is those of us who are up here on this platform. There are communities all over the country that have dealt with some of the challenges that we have dealt with. I think what gives me hope is that there are folks that have done this work together for quite some time that's committed to it. And to the extent that we double down and work even harder together, I think we can meet this moment. But again, I think that we have still resources and committed individuals in this city that is disproportionate to other cities. So I just think we're uniquely positioned to get through this current moment.
Wonderful. Kristy, I'm going to...
The numbers are giving me hope. On a personal level, and this just came to mind, I live in Ward 7. I feel like I live in a safe neighborhood, but I'm in close proximity to maybe neighborhoods that don't feel as safe. In 2023, at night, I would hear gunshots at least 3 times a week, close to my neighborhood. I don't hear that anymore. I don't have to explain or try to explain away to my daughter what that sound is. So that's giving me hope.
Wow. Likewise. Reverend Gholston?
I want to echo what you said. I have the same experience. I'm thinking back to 2022, 2023, and you made me think about that. That's definitely something that gives me hope as well. I think in addition to that, what gives me hope is I'm constantly surprised by the people who are willing to actually lend their voice and their expertise to the solutions. Even this panel, this forum came as a surprise to me, that the Public Welfare Foundation decided to partner with DC's best journalists, like a true icon in this community to make this.
I was going to turn around and say that.
Truly, to give platform to like our best Black communications journalism institution in this city to say, hey, how do we shape this narrative around what works? That gives me hope that we can actually counter this narrative, that we can actually get our story out there. We can that prevention actually works. That prevention doesn't belong at the bottom of the list, but prevention belongs at the top of the list. And the fact that this came together today in this way, it gives me hope. So I'm thankful. I'm just thankful. And I'm thankful to God that we're still here. So many things have tried to crush us in this city. And I just thank God we're still here.
Well, in closing, I'll just say what gives me hope is that you all still have hope. And that this community still has hope, and everybody's still working towards it. And as another great friend of ours, or person we know, often said was, keep hope alive. Yes. And hope is still alive. So with that, I want to thank each one of you, Thomas Penny, Kristy Love, Reverend Gholston, of course, Eric Weaver for being with us, and thank you in the audience for joining us today for Let's Talk on WIN TV. If you want to reach out for more information, we will have information posted for you all from the Public Welfare Foundation as well as the Washington Informer WIN TV. So with that, I want to thank the team that was here with us. I want to thank Public Welfare Foundation for sponsoring this event, and don't give up hope.